In the ancient kingdom of Israel, during one of its darkest hours, a single prophet stood against an entire nation that had turned its back on God. This is the story of faith, courage, and divine power. This is the story of Elijah versus the prophets of Baal, a showdown that would determine the fate of a nation. To understand this epic confrontation, we must first understand the darkness that had engulfed Israel. The year was approximately 860 BC. King Ahab sat on the throne of Israel, but he was not a righteous king. In fact, the Bible tells us that Ahab did more evil in the eyes of the Lord than any king before him. But Ahab's greatest mistake wasn't just his own sins. It was his marriage. He married Jezebel, a Phoenician princess, daughter of the king of Sidon. And Jezebel brought with her something far more dangerous than political alliance. She brought her gods. Before we continue with this incredible story, if you're enjoying this biblical journey, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the most powerful stories from Scripture. Now, let's continue. Jezebel was zealous for her god, Baal. She didn't just practice her religion privately. No, she systematically promoted the worship of Baal throughout Israel. She funded 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of Asherah, feeding them at her own table. She built temples to Baal in cities across the nation. And most horrifying of all, she began a systematic persecution of the prophets of the Lord, killing them wherever she could find them. The true prophets of God were driven into hiding. A faithful man named Obadiah, who served in Ahab's palace, secretly hid 100 prophets in caves, feeding them with bread and water. Israel had abandoned the covenant. The nation that had been chosen by God to be a light to the world was now bowing before lifeless idols of wood and stone. Prophet Elijah, weathered middle-aged man with long dark hair and full beard, wearing simple rough woolen robe with leather belt, intense determined eyes, standing on rocky outcrop overlooking wilderness, staff in hand, powerful presence, sunset lighting, ancient Israel wilderness, photorealistic. One day, Elijah strode boldly into Ahab's presence and declared a prophecy that would shake the nation. He said, "As the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, whom I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years except at my word." Then, as suddenly as he had appeared, Elijah vanished into the wilderness. And it happened exactly as Elijah had said. The rain stopped, the dew ceased. Month after month, the sky remained clear. The brooks dried up, the crops withered. Famine gripped the land. 1 year passed, then 2, then 3, and still, not a drop of rain fell on Israel. During this time, God miraculously sustained his prophet. First, the Lord sent Elijah to the brook Cherith, east of the Jordan. There, Elijah drank from the brook, and God commanded ravens to bring him bread and meat every morning and evening. Can you imagine? Wild birds, acting as servants of the Most High, feeding his prophet. But eventually, even the brook Cherith dried up. The drought was total, but God's provision was not exhausted. The Lord sent Elijah to Zarephath, to a widow's home. And there, God performed another miracle. The widow's jar of flour was never used up, and her jug of oil never ran dry. Every day, there was just enough. God was preparing his prophet for the greatest confrontation of his life. Meanwhile, back in Israel, the situation was becoming catastrophic. The Bible tells us that the famine was severe in Samaria. King Ahab was so desperate that he personally went out with his palace administrator, Obadiah, to search for grass to keep the horses and mules alive. The mighty king of Israel, reduced to searching for scraps of vegetation to save his animals. But Ahab didn't seek the Lord. He didn't repent of his idolatry. Instead, he blamed Elijah for the disaster. He called Elijah the troubler of Israel. He sent messengers to every nation and kingdom searching for the prophet. Ahab wanted to silence God's messenger rather than hear God's message. After 3 long years, the word of the Lord came to Elijah. "Go and present yourself to Ahab, and I will send rain on the land." Elijah obeyed. He encountered Obadiah, Ahab's faithful servant, and sent him to announce his coming to the king. When Ahab saw Elijah, his words dripped with contempt. "Is that you, you troubler of Israel?" he demanded. But Elijah didn't flinch. He didn't back down. Listen to his response. "I have not made trouble for Israel, but you and your father's family have. You have abandoned the Lord's commands and have followed the Baals." Then Elijah issued a challenge that would echo through history. "Now summon the people from all over Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel, and bring the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah, who eat at Jezebel's table." Ahab could have refused. He could have arrested Elijah right there. But something in the prophet's words, some divine authority, compelled the king to obey. The summons went out across Israel. The showdown was set. And so they came. From every corner of Israel, they gathered. The people climbed Mount Carmel, a mountain that rises majestically above the Mediterranean coast. 450 prophets of Baal arrived, dressed in their ceremonial robes. King Ahab came with his guards, and standing alone against them all was Elijah, the solitary prophet of the Lord. Elijah stepped forward and addressed the people with words that cut to the heart of Israel's spiritual crisis. He said, "How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him." The crowd stood silent. No one answered. They had been sitting on the fence for too long, trying to worship both the Lord and Baal. But Elijah was about to force them to choose. Then Elijah laid out the terms of the contest. He said, "Get 2 bulls for us. Let Baal's prophets choose one for themselves, and let them cut it into pieces and put it on the wood, but not set fire to it. I will prepare the other bull and put it on the wood, but not set fire to it. Then you call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord, the God who answers by fire. He is God." The people responded, "What you say is good." It was a simple test, but profound. In that agricultural society, everyone knew that Baal was supposed to be the god of storms and fertility, the one who sent rain and fire from heaven. If Baal was real, if Baal had any power at all, this should be easy for him. The stage was set. The challenge was clear. All of heaven and earth would witness what happened next. From morning until noon, the prophets of Baal called on their god. They danced around the altar they had made. They shouted, "Baal, answer us." Their voices rose in desperate chorus, for 150 voices crying out to a god of wood and stone. But there was no response, no voice, no fire, nothing. At noon, Elijah began to taunt them. And listen to this mockery. It's absolutely brilliant. He said, "Shout louder. Surely he is a god. Perhaps he is deep in thought or busy or traveling. Maybe he is sleeping and must be awakened." Can you hear the sarcasm? Elijah was exposing the absurdity of their worship. Their God needed to be woken up? Their God was too busy? What kind of God is that? So they shouted louder. And they did what their pagan rituals demanded. They slashed themselves with swords and spears until their blood flowed. From noon until the time of the evening sacrifice, they prophesied frantically. But the Bible records the devastating verdict. There was no response, no one answered, no one paid attention. Baal was silent because Baal was nothing. Then it was Elijah's turn. But watch what he does. He doesn't rush. He doesn't panic. He moves with calm, deliberate purpose. First, he repairs the altar of the Lord that had been torn down. He takes 12 stones, representing the 12 tribes of Israel, God's chosen people. He's making a statement. This is about the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He arranges the wood. He cuts the bull into pieces and lays it on the wood. But then Elijah does something that seems absolutely crazy. He orders that 4 large jars be filled with water and poured on the offering and on the wood. And then he tells them to do it again. And then a third time. 12 jars of water in total during a 3.5-year drought. The water ran down around the altar and even filled the trench he had dug around it. Why would Elijah do this? He was making it humanly impossible for the fire to start. He was removing any doubt that what was about to happen was from God alone. No trick, no hidden spark. This would be a miracle that no one could deny. At the time of sacrifice, the prophet Elijah stepped forward. The crowd fell silent. 450 prophets of Baal had shouted for hours with no result. How long would Elijah pray? Listen to his prayer. It's only 63 words in the original Hebrew. Simple, direct, powerful. Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you, Lord, are God, and that you are turning their hearts back again. Notice what Elijah prays for, not for his own glory, not to defeat his enemies, but so that the people will know the Lord is God, and that their hearts would turn back to him. And then it happened. The fire of the Lord fell, not a small flame, not a spark that caught the wood. The fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, the soil, and even licked up the water in the trench. It was total. It was devastating. It was unmistakably divine. This was the power of the living God. When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God." The nation that had been sitting on the fence, wavering between the Lord and Baal, now knew without doubt. Baal couldn't answer. Baal couldn't send fire. Baal was nothing but an idol. But the Lord, the God of Israel, He is God. He alone is God. Then Elijah commanded, "Seize the prophets of Baal. Don't let anyone get away." And the people seized them, and Elijah had them brought down to the Kishon Valley and slaughtered there. The judgment was swift and complete. The false prophets who had led Israel astray were no more. But the day wasn't over. Elijah told Ahab, "Go, eat and drink, for there is the sound of a heavy rain." Then Elijah climbed the top of Carmel, bent down to the ground, and put his face between his knees. He told his servant, "Go and look toward the sea." The servant went and looked and said, "There is nothing there." 7 times Elijah sent him back to look. And the 7th time, the servant reported, "A cloud as small as a man's hand is rising from the sea." That was all Elijah needed to hear. He told a servant, "Go and tell Ahab, hitch up your chariot and go down before the rain stops you." Meanwhile, the sky grew black with clouds, the wind rose, and a heavy rain came on. After 3.5 years of drought, the skies opened. God had proven his power with fire. Now he demonstrated his authority over the rain that Baal was supposed to control. The God of Israel is Lord over all creation. The confrontation at Mount Carmel teaches us timeless truths. We cannot serve 2 masters. We cannot worship both God and idols. The Lord alone is God, and he demands wholehearted devotion. Like the Israelites that day, we must choose. Will we follow the living God who answers by fire? Or will we chase after the empty promises of this world's false gods? The choice is ours. But remember, only one God can answer. Only one God is real. The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God. If this story has inspired you, please like this video, subscribe to our channel for more incredible biblical stories, and share this with someone who needs to hear about the power of the one true God. Leave a comment below telling us what spoke to you most from Elijah's story. God bless you, and until next time, may you serve the Lord with all your heart.